Welcome back to your podcast, our podcast, the Popular Side Podcast. As always, we have Yinka Yusuf
Hello.
and Akin Adeke. Yinka, today
Yes,
is
sir.
19th of May,
Yep.
Sunday evening.
Yep.
The Premier League season is over.
Yes, it is.
Today was Super Sunday. Manchester City won.
Yeah.
They won today and they won the league.
And they won the league. Yeah.
Arsenal won today and came second in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Or as everyone in the world except you and I would say, they're terrible and the sky is falling and they should never be allowed to play ball again.
They bottled it. They have weak mentality. They have weak mentality. The fans have stupid football mentality. I've heard all sorts today.
And apparently Arteta should be fired.
And apparently Arteta should be fired. And my timeline and my WhatsApp message is filled with people mocking Arsenal. And I'm like...
Yinka, I like stats. I like numbers. I like mathematics. If you're the greatest team that ever lived, and I beat you at my place and draw at your place and finish 2 points behind you, my coach should be fired? I mean,
apparently that's the way
you are the greatest team that ever lived. You're the best to ever do it. But I took 4 points from you during the season. So, I mean, I'm just saying.
Anyway, let's get into the show.
Okay, I am crazy. Okay, it's me. It's not these people. All right, so Yinka, what do we have for today? First, how you doing? You good?
I'm okay. I had a minor injury that I'm trying to go through, but it's all good.
Okay. It's football injury. Football injury. Nah, I'm just kidding. You don't play football anymore.
I don't play football anymore.
Your days of playing football are over.
They're over.
Oh, my trip was good. My trip was, so I had a trip during the week. I think I told you it was my third one in a row. It's getting harder and harder on the body. And then quick turnaround. Had a very short trip for my nephew's graduation, which was really fun.
Yeah.
Saw a bunch of family. And that was really cool. Spend time with kids, cool. All of that stuff. So congrats to the young man. Love to see it.
That's good.
He watches us. What'd you say?
I said congrats to him and thanks for watching us. We appreciate the support.
I know, right? Yeah. Good man. Good shout
out to him.
It was how do I call it? It was a full circle moment because 22 years ago, he was on his way into this world and I was graduating from school.
Wow.
So
that tells you you're old.
I am old.
That's what it tells you. You're old.
Yeah, I told him that this weekend. So
a lot of people don't know at times how old we are until you tell them history.
Yeah,
I remember recently I wrote something on LinkedIn about my 20 years at my place of work.
I read that
someone looked at me and was like, 20 years?
Yeah.
I said, what do you think? Of course, I'm not young anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, congrats to the young man.
I know.
Congrats to the young man, and thanks we appreciate his support and his viewership. All right.
Absolutely.
Good.
So, what do we have today? Like I said, today was Super Sunday. So we will do a review of the top 5 leagues, which, as we've been talking about the last couple weeks, it's really 2 of the top 5 at this point.
Yeah.
While the Bundesliga was already done, we were still waiting to see whether Leverkusen could actually do it, finish the season undefeated, which they did. Newsflash.
They did.
Spoiler alert. And then the Premier League went down to the last day, which was today. We will do our own, Yinka's and mine, EPL Season Awards. Everyone's doing theirs now, so we figured why not? We're bringing back our worthy mentions for another week, and we have several this time. And we have a donkey of the week.
Yep.
I joked with Yinka about should we do a donkey of the season, but for now we'll just do a donkey of the week.
We'll do donkey of the week.
And maybe we'll do a donkey of the season down the road. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
Probably will.
Let us talk about the Bundesliga first.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah. So this is not original. I think I started saying it and then I heard someone else say it. So I can't, I'm no longer calling them Leverkusen. I'm calling them NeverLusen. Because they don't seem to be able to lose.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is they won their game. I believe they won 2-1, while Bayern on the last day lost 4-1 without Harry Kane and managed to slip out of number 2. They've been second forever, right? In the Bundesliga. And now they're gonna finish Stuttgart, who we've talked about, whose coach Bayern may or may not want. Somehow found a way to finish second. And again, in other years where you didn't have a Leverkusen, Stuttgart would be the team of the season. Would be the name on everyone's tongue.
Absolutely.
But they've been overshadowed. What happened to Bayern, Yinka? Are they that bad? I didn't watch the game. Are they that bad without Harry Kane?
So it's a combination of a couple of things. Number one, I've told you about their coach. I think he's overrated. I think he overthinks things. I think he's disruptive rather than, he's not a people person. He doesn't, bring people around. I've never liked him, frankly. So I think one of the main reasons why they had a bad season is the coach. Number two is the fact that Leverkusen have been fantastic, and Bayern, out of, I don't want to call it arrogance, but for lack of a better word, let me stick to that. We're like, if we don't win it, what's the point? This is our first or nothing. And since they realized they were not going to catch Leverkusen, they focused on the Champions League, And when they lost out on the Champions League, they more or less lost out of the Champions League, lost the league, coaches leaving, they're in disarray. So everybody's just they're on holiday already, more or less. They're in Cancun already, mentally.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to them. And they're like, what's the difference between second and third? Third still qualifies for Champions League anyway.
Yeah.
So big deal. And they just let it go. And Stuttgart, as you said, they snuck into the second position. And I'm so happy for them because, frankly, Akin, if you look at the Stuttgart team, I've told you this before. You thought Leverkusen didn't have star players. Stuttgart don't have any.
Yeah.
They're worse. But the Burkinabe striker, is Guinean or Burkinabe?
I think it's Guinean. I think it's Guinean. Yeah,
it's Guinean. Yeah, Girassi, fantastic season. Who else they have? Okay, Undav is German. Is going to Euro 2024 for Germany. Furyk too is going to the Euros. But other than that, the lineup is filled with people you hardly know. There are no popular names in there. Yeah. So kudos to their coach. Kudos to Stuttgart. I think I'm happy that the quote and unquote invisibility that Bayern has had for the last 10 years, I'm so happy it's broken, and it's been broken real bad. So it's not a fluke, right? Two teams are ahead of them. I think this is the first time this will happen in 10 years.
It's amazing because they won 11 straight titles. They won 11 straight titles. And while they were doing that, they were winning cups, along the way as well. This is amazing. It's an unraveling. And they scored the most goals. So it's not a question of not being able to score goals. Harry Kane played 32 times. So the Bundesliga is you play 34 matches, right? Because they only have 18 teams. So he played 32 of 34 and he scored 36 goals.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't say the man didn't score. You can't even say he didn't score important goals. You can't say he didn't score critical goals. So as much as we like to clown him, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault.
Wasn't his fault. But some people will say, like you said, we shouldn't clown him. But some people will say he brought the curse from Spurs. He brought it to Bayern, right? Because this is the typical Hurricane season. You win Golden Boot, your club wins nada.
So I don't speak German. But I know the trophy you get or the plaque you get for winning the Golden Boot or the Golden Shoe, whatever.
It's a cannon.
Is a cannon. And so I think there's some irony in Harry Kane, a former gunner who hates gunners now, who gunners
not
hate,
getting a gunner as a plaque.
We'll be getting a cannon. So, but it is what it is. So,
it is what it is.
We've talked Leverkusen to death, so we're not gonna do it again. So much debate has ensued. So I hate this about sports media, really all media. The day they yesterday, right? Saturday, they won their last game. Instead of bigging them up, instead of analyzing how they did it, what I heard from respected outlets was, hey, which is more important, the Invincibles of Arsenal or this? I'm like, or which was harder to do or whatever. I'm like, what are we doing?
See, that's not even right. You're trivializing the importance of what they did. Just talk about them only and big them up, right?
Yeah.
These guys had 26 wins, 6 draws, and they ended the season with 90 points.
Yeah.
And they have the opportunity to do something that no other team has done in Europe. Not lose a single game in all competitions. They have 2 more games left.
They had 28 wins. And 6 draws. So that's 34 games.
They had 28 wins and 6 draws. Yeah. So you can't, I don't like this comparison. Yeah. Just welcome them to the Rushmore of invisibility where they join Milan, Juve, Arsenal, I think.
That's it.
And the Juve one is even in question because that was the season. I think that was the season they were penalized subsequently.
The Calcio
and they were demoted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it was. I might be wrong, but I think that was it. Yeah. But let's give it to Juve. They were also they were invincible. But out of these 4, Leverkusen can actually go a step further and actually claim ultimate invincibility because they will be the only team ever to not lose a single game across all competition.
Yeah.
So them trying to, trivialize what they've achieved, I think is wrong. Give it to them. They're fantastic. Team of the season. By far.
Yeah, by far. So, Yinka.
Yeah.
I will stoop down to their level and have the debate with myself, right? And say this is more impressive.
I'm not here. Yeah. I'm not part of this.
this is more impressive than what Arsenal did.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. It's really not even.
It's not even a contest. You shouldn't even bring it up.
There are several reasons why. One, that Arsenal team was filled with superstars. Okay, they were filled with superstars and they were seasoned. Right, Henry was not a rookie. Right, they were at their height in their prime or very close to it. Bergkamp was coming down from his prime, but he was still good enough. Arsenal had 6 forwards. Kanu Nwankwo, who some of our friends think is the best Nigerian player to ever live, which is crazy, was literally the 6th option at forward for Arsenal. Yep. You can argue if Arsenal had Kanu Nwankwo this season, they would win the league. No, you could argue it. They would win the league.
Yeah, you can.
Right? But he was Arsenal's number 6 option at the forward positions. Okay? Kanu would waltz into this Leverkusen team. It would be, the number 1 option at like 6 different positions. Let's just be real, right? So that's one. The talent was better. I'm not going to get into the debate of the English league was better in 03-04 than the German league. It doesn't even
matter.
It doesn't matter.
I don't think
it's true. So that's number 2. But number 3, one guy wins 26 times in 38 matches and the other wins 28 times in 34 matches. What are we comparing? Right? So that's number 3. So if I play 4 fewer games and I win 2 more, what are you talking about? Right? Yeah. And then I believe Arsenal lost. You'll have to check me on this. Arsenal lost 6 times that season in all competitions, I think.
Yeah, they lost in the Champions League.
They lost. Yeah, they got knocked out of every cup. They lost to Chelsea.
They got knocked out in FA Cup and Champions. So they probably lost. I think
5
they
or
lost
6 times that season, right?
Yeah.
So and then they never got past the quarterfinals of any of the cups. I think one of the domestic cup semifinals, Champions League quarterfinals, the other domestic cup quarterfinals, right?
Yeah.
So, but now we're in, this is May 19. And we're talking about, hey, 1 more match or 2 more matches, the German equivalent of the FA Cup and then the Europa League.
And the Europa League.
So I'm like, what are we still debating? Stop it. So I think this is more impressive. This is more impressive than Milan in 91-92. This is more impressive than, did I say 91? I think it was 01-02, sorry. More impressive than Arsenal, more impressive than Juve. More important to me, look at the coaches of the 3 teams that have done it. Capello did it, Wenger did it, and then Conte did it. These are acknowledged to be great coaches, at least, before one of them lost his mind, Wenger.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a guy who got his first job. When he came in, they were second from bottom, last season. It took them to 6th. Right? It took them to 6th, took them to Europe. That's how they got into Europa. And then it's pretty much been first all season this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in modern football. The
only thing I want to add to that, Aki, is, and I think I'm taking a shot at you, but I'm not. I'm just talking generally, right? So you see when people single out players and they say, this player is crap, I don't want you my team. See what has happened to Granit Xhaka.
Okay.
See what has happened to Granit Xhaka. That's all I'm going to say. That's why when you have a player, right, even when he's not playing well, support the player, right? Even when he's not giving his best, that is where you're there. I'm not saying you should not critique players, right? You can critique them, constructive criticism, right? You get the best out of players when you support them, when they know whether or not they mess up, they get better, right? Look at Granit Xhaka. When he was at Arsenal, he was a disaster both ways, on his side and on the fan side, right? But every coach wanted him. Mourinho said he wanted him. What's his name? Xabi Alonso said I wanted him. He paid £25 million for him. People were like, good riddance to bad rubbish. He's a useless player. We don't need him. No. That's why I said this is not a shot at you. This is not about
I didn't
you
say
at
good
all.
riddance.
But a lot of people did.
I know,
a lot of Arsenal fans did. But look at him right now. Look at him, right? He's thriving. He's probably their best player this season, right? And he was actually one of the better players at Arsenal last season.
It was.
So you see where coaching comes into play, right? Where giving the player the necessary support where it comes into play, right? Just keep that in mind, because I've seen a lot of people bash players. The same thing with what's his name, Havertz at Chelsea. If Arsenal had won today, it would have been the same thing.
Yeah, it scored again today.
So let's just keep that at the back of our mind. This goes out to all fans. Yeah, it's not about you bashing a particular player, right? Give people. That's why you're a supporter. And the active verb there is support. So even if a player is not playing well, criticize him constructively, not say, I wish bad on you and your family. I wish you were dead. I wish you to leave my club. It's not proper. It's annoying. Saying, this is my club. You get out of my club. Come on. That's not what you're there to do.
Let me put it this way.
You can go ahead.
Let me put it this way. One, booing your own players for me is insane to me, because who gets better when you boo them? That part I don't understand. I think in modern, maybe in previous times, 50 years ago, there was no other way to show fan sentiment. But now there is, right? You have fan TV, you have social media, you can at the club, on social media directly, so they know exactly how you feel, how thousands of people feel, So trust me, you don't have to boo a player for everyone to know that, okay, this guy is not doing well. Yeah, film study, everyone knows that they're not doing well, right? So that's number one. Number two, there's a reason we're not coaches, right? So I'll give you an example, right? So the popular opinion this season is that Saka has not played well.
Yeah.
Okay. People who do this for a living, who know better. I wish I had taken a screenshot of this. They did a ranking of the best forwards in the world. Okay. And it was holistic. It was holistic. It wasn't just going forward. It was going both ways. Saka was at the top of the ranking in all of world football for right wingers. And the reason is he plays both sides of the ball. I've tried to tell people this. You and I have talked about this on here. I told you, even my daughter noticed. There was a corner. I was like, whoa, this man is always the first to defend stuff. And that's why certain players cannot play for Arteta. And that's why Arteta practically begged Xhaka to stay. Was like, I need you to do this for me, because, I'm going to put you in a place where your lack of speed, your lack of athletic ability or whatever is not going to be a problem, But the problem is Wenger was asleep at the wheel. And for 5 years, however many years, Xhaka was just out there, not being played at his best position. He was playing well for Switzerland and not playing well for Arsenal. But I hear you. But that's why you need coaches who aren't just collecting a paycheck, who see this. I mean, that's why Pep is the best coach in the world, because he outworks everybody. And Pep,
absolutely.
If you think you figured Pep out based on what he did this season, he may not repeat any of it next season. He'll come back with something new. He's cooking something up right now in the lab, that you haven't seen before. So how do you play against a man who doesn't even do the same things for 2 seasons in a row? But anyway, let's move on.
So congratulations to Leverkusen, or NeverLusen.
NeverLusen, yeah.
I actually want them to win the last 2 games.
Yeah, me too. I'm rooting for them.
Yeah, because I think I love fairy tales. Xabi Alonso, he played with intelligence. He seemed to be coaching with intelligence. And I also love the fact that he's humble. And he said, I'm coming back with Leverkusen next season. I'm not going to Madrid. Yeah?
Yeah.
So thumbs up to them, and we'll be rooting for them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Right. Let's move on.
EPL ended today. City won, 91 points. Arsenal second, 89. Both teams finished on the same goals difference. Was it plus 60 or plus 61? I don't have it in front of me.
I can check.
Yeah. But I do have to look, because I need to laugh at Man U fans. Did they finish with a negative goals difference? I just want to know. I just want to know. I need to know. This is important to me, because we've been catching a lot of, oh my God, -1. They finished -1. Both City and Arsenal finished plus 62. And Man United finished -1. Yinka, how hard is it to accomplish what Man U just accomplished? To pretty much be 63 goals worse than your rivals. How is this possible?
It's crazy. And as of 5 weeks ago or thereabout, they were actually on the same thing with Chelsea, more or less. Probably 5, 6, 7 weeks ago. Right?
Chelsea finished plus 14.
Chelsea finished plus 14. So Man U, they're just running like
15 goals
the way Jerry runs in Tom and Jerry, where he'll just be sprinting on the spot. That's exactly what United have been doing. Yeah,
man.
And you know the funniest part of this whole thing, right? Yeah. Is the fact that this is what laughing about. This is what hiding your head in shame if you're a United fan. And when you get across board, you see United fans coming out to say, if United beat City in the FA Cup on Saturday, or when is it? Next week, upper week, that they would have had a better season than Arsenal. And I'm like, really, it's embarrassing. But I want to say something, right? When it comes to City, right? You mentioned this last week or 2 weeks ago. City only drew one game in calendar year 2024 in the league.
Yeah.
One game. And that game, the only team that took points off City since January 1st is Arsenal.
Yeah. Since Christmas.
That's it.
Yeah.
Since Christmas is Arsenal. Right? And you see people still looking at Arsenal sideways and say, hey, you guys bottled it.
No.
I'm like,
Not
is this
time.
not insanity? This is insanity. So the league is over now, right? Liverpool came third. Arsenal are 7 points ahead of Liverpool. Arsenal are 23 points ahead of Spurs. 26 points ahead of Chelsea. 29 points ahead of United.
21 ahead of Villa.
21 ahead of Villa.
That's
7
wins.
Games.
That's 7 wins better. That's a lot. That's a full rebuild and plenty of luck.
If we try to look forward into the future, right?
Yeah.
Bearing in mind that you have FFP as barrier, you can't overdo. Yeah. Let's take all the clubs within the top 6 and let's just try and let's see what can happen over the next 1 year. Let's see what's happening on the horizon for them. I'll take Man City out of the picture. Man City will be Man City. Yeah. They've made enough money this year in terms of profits to be able to go strengthen.
Yeah.
Man City bought some people for 50-something million pounds this year that didn't smell the pitch more than 5 times or 6 times. Matheus Nunes, they paid 53 million pounds for him. How many games did he play this season? That's just to give you an idea of the kind of juggernaut that you're competing with. So I won't talk about Arsenal. So let's go to Liverpool. Liverpool, they got a new manager. That's a blank sheet. You don't know how this will look like next season. Yes, the players he might bring in a different style and the players will adjust, or the players will look at him and say, dude, nah, we're not doing this. Or he might want to go ahead and, continue Klopp's style, and the players will be like, no. It's only Klopp that can treat us that way. You? Hell no. So we don't know how Liverpool will pan out next season.
Yeah.
Salah has come out to say he's going to stay, but I take that with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Because when it's summer, only God knows what will happen. When the Saudis decide Ronaldo is not big enough, it's not a big enough star for our league, and we're ready to put any amount on the table for one of the teams to get Salah. I'm not sure Salah is staying, but we'll see how that goes. So that means the horizon is quite unpredictable for Liverpool. Go to Villa. Villa are coming to the Champions League next season. They played in the Conference League this season.
They played in the conference, yeah.
They played in the Conference League. They got knocked out in the semi-finals also. Yeah. So Villa will also need a lot of strengthening. Playing Champions League football, playing on Wednesday, and then you're playing better teams on Wednesday, and you're playing strong teams that want to kill you again on Saturday, right? We don't know how Villa will pan out. But I think Villa will probably push higher, but there's no way they can move from 68 to 80 something next season. I don't see that happening. So that means Villa most likely won't contend again with City. Yeah? Look at what's happening to Spurs. Based on what Ange said after last week's game, I will be shocked if he doesn't resign, right? Or if he doesn't just walk out of the door.
Or get fired.
The man put himself, or get fired. The man put himself up here and he realizes he's coaching a club that the players, the manager, and the fans are down here. And he was very, very disappointed. I'd look at Spurs and I'm like, y'all don't know what you're doing. How many players can you bring in that will improve the squad, right? Chelsea have so many players that they can only buy. I mean, I don't know how much they can invest in the current squad. I already heard that they've agreed a £65 million deal for a Brazilian boy. And it's a 6-year contract or so. I can't remember, right? So they're bringing in someone. That means they need to sell. Okay? They finished the season strong, and I think they have a brighter future. But I don't see Chelsea going from 63 points to 80-something next season. They might get better, right? But I don't see them getting better considerably. Okay? Newcastle have issues. They need to manage themselves in FFP. They've overspent. They need to sell players. They know they need to sell players to be able to cope with FFP. You talked about United last week. United, when they asked David Ornstein, what do you need to do? He's like, buy, in fact, just scrap everybody and buy. He said they needed a goalkeeper, they needed a defender, they needed a midfielder, they needed a striker. They need everything. I don't see Man U. And you know, Man U are losing quite a number of players that are not coming back. Varane said he's leaving.
We should talk about that.
Who else said he's leaving again? I mean, the people that they bought, Mason Mounts, didn't do anything.
Anthony Martial is leaving. Varane is leaving.
Martial is leaving. Varane is leaving. Yeah. So looking at this, the only team that is primed right now to still challenge City next season is Arsenal. It's Arsenal. Because they have a young squad. Nobody on the Arsenal team, apart from Partey, has reached their peak. As I'm talking right now, none of them. We've seen the best of Partey. He probably stayed there at that level for a while and start declining. Every other player is young and they're on the rise, even including the manager. So if I'm a gambler right now, I say put money on a team that will improve next season, it's gonna be only on City and Arsenal.
Yeah,
it's gonna be City and Arsenal. Yeah. So the EPL is finished. I get it. A lot of Arsenal fans are disappointed. A lot of people say be looking at the brighter side. This is not a brighter side discussion. This is simply a rational, discussion around what will happen next season. Who's most likely to come back and challenge for the league next season, right? As of today, not talking about transfers and everything, but we'll revisit this discussion again when the transfers are done, right? And we'll look at who will have a better season out of the 6 that I've gone through right now.
Okay, so let me start with outside of the 6, right? Like who can break in, right? So I'm gonna expect better from West Ham United, just because we don't know who the new manager will be. David Moyes is gone. Moyes was very pragmatic. I'm not one of those people who thinks he can't coach. I just think is a man of a different time, is a man of a certain age. Is a very pragmatic manager that helped them win the Conference League, by the way, which is, I'm not going to sneeze at. It's West Ham United is their first European trophy in, I don't know, forever. I don't know. So there's some value to that. It beat Arsenal this season. There's some value to that. But he also got battered 5, 6, and 4, 3 different times this season. So bringing in like a more progressive coach, I think they could be the Villa of next season, right? So they could be the Aston Villa of next season. So that's one. And then you've already talked about Newcastle. I hope they keep the coach. I like him. I think there's growing pains. Yeah, you think so? Yeah. I think City went through this, right? When you first get money, you don't get the best players initially. You overpay for some, you bring in some stopgap, players. They'll work it out, right? They'll work it out. Yeah. So not too worried about them.
FFP is a problem for them.
It's a problem.
When City had all the money, City does no FFP. City could do and undo. Newcastle right now, they have all the money, but they don't have the freedom to spend any which way they want.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's a problem for them.
You know who I would focus on in the outside of the top 6 is Crystal Palace. If that coach, I always Glasper. If Glasper doesn't leave for Bayern Munich and he stays, I mean, no one's talking about that, right? But he's doing what I believed Patrick Vieira would have done if they had given him a chance, right? I think they set themselves back by bringing back Roy Hodgson and just they should have been on this trajectory all along. So if I'm looking at, they only finished, they finished 11 points behind.
They finished 10th.
They finished 10th, 11 points behind Man U, but they only lost one more game than Man U did, right? Yeah. And they also finished, they scored the same number of goals, considered the same number of goals. All right. And finished with a -1 goals difference. And this guy was only there for what, a third of the season? The last third of the season, maybe? Okay. So I would want to see, if you're hanging around the 7th to 10th spot, don't feel comfortable, because if they keep this guy, Crystal Palace is coming. And it doesn't matter to me whether they lose their stars or not. His style is not dependent on stars. And anyone they bring in, he has a system. He has a system that works. And how many did they beat? Villa by today? Was it 5? Was it 5-0 today?
It ended up, I think it was 5 eventually.
Okay.
Let me check. It was 5. It was 5.
That's not. I don't care how much you were on the beach if you're Villa. That's not supposed to happen. The Crystal Palace of Roy Hodgson did not have it in them to beat anybody, let alone.
They didn't even have it in them to have 5 shots on goal.
This is very true. This is you're actually not kidding. This is actually very true. Okay, so I've gotten all those out of the way. What I would say is today proved to me. So this season we've seen the full. I'll call it the full Unai Emery, right?
Yeah.
Capable of both the incredible and the ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is why he no longer coaches at Arsenal. Right. So sometimes they line up and you're like, man, they can stifle anybody. Their defense is amazing, blah, 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 blah. Other times, nothing. It's just end to end, end to end, end to end. Nothing in the middle. Even though he has players capable of playing in the middle, he doesn't coach it. He does not coach it. And this is the problem. This is why, as a big game manager, he'll win some big games. You've seen it. He's won 6 Europa titles. Knockout competition is kind of your guy. In the league, I don't know. Sometimes the occasional 5-0 will happen. Okay. So I don't want to repeat all the things you've said. So the things I agree with, I will not touch. And then the ones I have something to add, I'll add. Tottenham are in trouble as far as I'm concerned. But they did bring in some really, really good players. Low key. I like their goalkeeper a lot. I like Van de Ven. Son is always Son. It is what it is. Van de Ven might be
Son is not always Son. Don't go there. Son is not always Son.
Okay. You think it's
Son
done?
Is not always Son.
You think it's done?
Son is done. Son is done.
Why? Why is it done?
Yeah.
He's not that old.
He's done. It's not in terms of age. Okay. In terms of what he delivered for Spurs this season.
You don't think you don't think it's just the off?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Right? I think now that Kane's left them, himself and Kulusevski, they shadow themselves. So it tells you that the whole of Spurs, it was going through Kane.
Of course.
And if Kane assist goals Kane would deliver.
Yeah.
But right now, Son is just there. Kulusevski, just there. In my opinion, they both had terrible might be a harsh word, but you get my point. In comparison to what the two of them have been doing in the past seasons, this season, very, very poor. Very, very poor.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
So Son scored 16 or 17 goals this season, right? But they were not to what end? Anyway, we'll talk about Spurs about Son later on. Anyway,
okay.
When we get to that section,
and then finally, everything you said about City, I agree. Jeremy Doku would walk into any other team in the world, including Real Madrid. At City, he's a nice to have. What did you say the other day? Is his icing is not cake.
Yeah, it's not his icing is not cake.
But he's good enough. Is good enough to be the cake. You know what I mean? Grealish is the kind of player you build a nice team around. Maybe not a world-beating team, but we saw him at Villa. He's a really, really, really good player. Who Pep can go 10 games without playing him. That's how good they are. That's how good they are.
Nunes for 50 something million pounds. How many games did he play this season?
No, this guy is probably their 18th player, objectively. If you list all their
if you can put 50 something million pounds on your 18th player, tell me who else can do that?
Nobody
in the league.
Nobody.
That's who we're competing with.
Yeah, Akanji, they paid 17 million for him, which was a great, But again, Akanji probably only works in that team. I don't remember any chatter about someone trying to buy Akanji before Pep bought him.
Actually some people tried to.
Okay.
Some tried to. Okay. Yeah. Because he had a very the season in Dortmund, he played very well. And I think he made the Bundesliga team of the season. But once City is in for you, right, every other person just be like, oh, okay, that's it. We can't compete with City.
If this was 5 years ago, it would have gone to Bayern.
Yes.
Because that
will have gone to Bayern.
Is a typical Bayern player, in my opinion. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean?
He will have gone to Bayern.
He would have gone to Bayern, but they've been asleep at the wheel. They've been asleep at the wheel for a while. Anyway, so my take on Arsenal is very simple. I hate to use this word on our podcast, but anyone calling for Arteta to be fired is an idiot. Arteta, because I watch them. Of course, I watch them a lot. That goes without saying. I watch them twice every game. Even the ones I miss live, I still watch twice. So unfortunately, I'm not an expert in many things. I'm an expert in Arsenal. I can say that absolutely. What Arteta did this season is probably the best coaching job I've ever seen in my years of watching football. And I mean that very seriously.
It is up there.
It's got to be, because, I mean, he was, it's just, for me, it's just impressive because he coached, it was like he had 5 different mini seasons within one season, and he coached through everything. No excuses, just kept going. He bought 3 players. One of them was injured, and then one had to be deployed somewhere else because his most important player last year, or second most important last year, Partey, was injured the whole season. He coached through it anyway. And this is still a team in transition. This is not a, this is still a team in transition. So for me, and it changed the style. Zinchenko was all important, and now Zinchenko can get a game. What's the name of the Polish defender? He couldn't get a game. Yeah, Kiwior couldn't get a game. Then it was all important, and now couldn't get a game. And then watching the way Timber was going into tackles today in his first game back, I'm like, Arsenal probably win the league if this guy was not injured. So I think he did a fantastic job. Pep is the best of the best of the best. Me thinking Arteta did the best job doesn't mean Pep is not the best coach. Pep is the best coach. Pep is not even close. But I think Arteta did some of the best coaching that I've ever seen this season.
Let me flip that a bit.
Okay, go for it.
So I'm not sure if you watch comic book movies and stuff. So Pep is like Thanos, as it is, without the Infinity Stones. It's like Thanos without the Infinity Stones, right? You now give Thanos the gauntlet, which is City, their manpower, their ability to get anybody they can get.
Their front office.
You think you're not gonna? Come on now. You think you're not gonna get that? What you have currently at City, yeah. So it is what it is. Pep without the juice, quote and unquote, is arguably the best coach ever. You now give him the tools, right? So that means Arteta is fighting with somebody that is better than him from a coaching standpoint, and you're fighting with the tools itself. Like I told you, Arsenal only have 1 to 15. They don't have 1 to 25.
Barely.
City have 1 to 30.
Yeah, it's barely 1
they
to 15.
They have 1 to 30.
It's
barely 1 to 15. And the FFP is controlling what everybody can do.
Very true.
Yeah? So it is what it is. For me, it's not a failed season. Kudos to the boys.
Yeah.
Is it disappointing? Yes, it is. Of course it is. But if you look at it objectively, I think I'll give a thumbs up to Arteta and the boys.
Yeah.
And also say a big shout out to Klopp. Played his last season today. Now we know what himself and Liverpool went through for the last 8 years.
Absolutely.
Right? Because if you look at the 4 titles that City won,
while Klopp was there, right?
No, just the last 4.
Okay, last 4. Okay,
right. So in the 2020-21 season, they won it with 12 points. United were second.
Yeah, so that was the 186, something like that. Was that the 100 points?
Yeah, they had 86 points. City had 86. United had 74. So that was 12. Now, the next season, it was Liverpool 92, City 93.
Yeah.
So Liverpool had 92 points in 2022, right? Yet City still won the league by a point.
Yeah.
Then last season, they won by 5 points, right? This season, they won by 2 points. So the last 3 seasons, City, the max they've led is by 5 points.
Yeah.
So it's not for lack of trying from Klopp. Klopp is, I mean, he's tried. A lot of people that look at him and trying to mock him, all your 8 years, you only won 1 trophy.
That's so crazy to me. Now
it's crazy.
There was the 100-point season as well, where Liverpool had 99, I believe.
No, sir. I'm just talking about the 4 pits now. I didn't go back.
Understood.
So I'm just saying for the last 4 that they won. Yeah, the 100 points was way back. So you see, so City have it in them to get to that 100. It is who's going to push them. So it's a function of, oh, you guys really think you can do this stuff? We'll show you what we can do. And they put they put the foot on the pedal. In 2024, they only dropped 2 points.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. That is ridiculously crazy. Ridiculously crazy. And I intentionally don't want to mention the 115 charges, right? Because it will seem as if you're downplaying. But we'll talk about that a bit more when we get to another section during the podcast. But anyway, congrats to City. They're the best team in the league. They had the best coach, so kudos to them. And until next season, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do that.
Yinka, let's switch over to our EPL Season Awards. So I think this is how I want to do it, right? So tell me if this is okay with you. I think we just take each award. You say yours, I say mine, and then we move on to the next one. Okay.
That works.
All right.
That works.
First one we're gonna do is the Player of the Season in the EPL. So you go first, then I'll go next.
Player for the season for me is Rodri.
Okay. Player of the season for me is Foden. We've talked about this in the past. We don't need to debate it. So you have Rodri. I have Foden. Okay.
Yeah.
Go on. You want to say something?
No. It's the Foden Rodri, comparison, and I think Rodri is probably the most underrated and most uncelebrated player in the league. Yeah, his position that he's playing is probably the most difficult to play, and he excels. I don't know. If there's any if you ask me right now that you pick a player in City, I'm picking Rodri. Picking Rodri to join my club. I'm picking Rodri, man.
I'm gonna say it this way:
elegance, the composure. He's the reason why Foden can play the way Foden is playing. He's the reason why De Bruyne and what's his name, Bernardo Silva can do what they're doing. It's because of Rodri.
All right.
And the fact that he doesn't get the recognition is, I don't know, is mind-boggling to me. Go ahead, Akin.
It shouldn't be mind-boggling because most people only watch for goals. Come on now. You've been watching this game all your life. You should know by now.
But we know better. You and I know better.
I know you and I know better.
You and I know better.
I know.
When you two, when you join them and you pick Foden, I'm like, I'm not saying Foden is not a good player, right? But Foden pops up, flash, one game, 2 games, 3 games.
Not this
season.
Rodri
has been Rodri.
No, not this season.
Not
this season. So remember, we're not talking of the best player. We're not even talking about the most important player. We're talking of player of the season. This season.
Yes.
The player without whom, remember, game state also matters, right?
Okay.
Season state also matters. Meaning, when so Rodri doesn't do what De Bruyne and Haaland do, right? And City is built on those guys doing what they do. On everyone, City is a well-oiled machine. When Haaland went down and KDB went down, Rodri doesn't come in It would be like me saying, let's say instead of injuries to Haaland and De Bruyne, they had injuries to two key defenders, right? And Rodri went out of his way to cover those guys. And then and I'll say, Foden is the reason they won. That would be crazy, because so what happened was Foden stepped up into those two roles.
The games they've lost this season, right? Did Rodri play in any of those games?
No.
Even again, the games that they drew.
Remember, Rodri still the most important, and probably still the best, right? With no disagreement there. But player of the season this season, game state matters, right? Like the guy who did.
So give me an example. When you say game state, give me an example. Give me a game.
Okay, so give me a game. So I don't have these things in front of me, right? But I'm talking of extended periods, right? Where KDB was injured, where Haaland was injured, and they needed to manufacture goals. City is not the kind of team without those two that can just score anyhow. That's not the Pep way. Everything is methodical. Everything is like well-oiled. And when one or two parts are out, someone needs to come back in and knit that stuff together.
But I think City suffered every time Rodri did not play.
Of course.
And this is facts. It's not.
Yes.
It is facts. So how can you now tell me that he's not? That's the best team in the league. Okay. And you're telling me. So it's just like, anyway. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know.
Yinka, what I'm saying is, okay, let me put it this way. I think Haaland missed, was it 12 games? I can't remember how many games it was. KDB missed most of the season, right? I think if Rodri had missed half as many games as either of them, City don't win the league. He's by far the most important player on the team. And then I think if Foden missed the games KDB missed, but KDB was healthy, KDB would have done what Foden did. They would have been fine. But still, what Foden did had to be done. I don't know if that makes sense, because with those two guys gone, they used to pass to each other. They used to cross to each other. They used to be telepathic to each other. And then they were injured at the same time. And then one guy kind of replaced their production. And that one guy hadn't done it before. That's my point. You see what I mean? But it doesn't mean that the only reason he could do that was because this man was behind him. I don't disagree with you. Rodri, okay, you know what? Let's not argue about this. Let me tell you my own, why I like Rodri, right? Let me just say that real quick. Why I like him is one of one. And I mean that in the same way Makalele was one of one. I'm not saying he's a Makalele. They're not even remotely similar. And that's the thing with the CDM. You go back 20 years and everyone interprets the CDM position however they want, And some of the best people that have ever done it, Busquets is not some guy that hacks people down. Makalele is not a big guy.
Just makes everybody tick.
Yeah. And no one plays like Rodri, right? The way is not the fastest, quickest, most athletic, is not the strongest, but he's the guy that will go from box to box and you don't even see him moving, and somehow is intelligent enough that you never have to cover the space he left behind. I don't know if that makes sense, because he knows when to go up and when to stay. For me, I don't disagree with you at all. He is their best player. He is their most important player. I just think Foden.
And he popped up. He popped up with vital goals.
Yes,
vital goals for City this season
and last season.
Vital goals.
He does it all the time
from defensive midfield.
Yes, he did. And
okay, so for
2
me,
seasons ago,
player of the season is Rodri.
Okay,
it's not Foden for you. Okay, fair enough.
But it's close. All right. I'll take the next one first, which is young player of the season. So I think this one's easy. I don't really care about it. I'll give it to the kid. What's his name? Cole Palmer from Chelsea. He can have it.
Don't say you'll give it to him. Don't do that. Don't trivialize it. He's the young player of the season.
So a couple things. I found out this past week that his grandfather was from St. Kitts and Nevis. Why didn't you tell me this? I didn't know this.
Why would I tell you that?
I don't know. So that's like our Nigerian kid. What's his name? That we didn't know was Nigerian. Ross Barkley. I didn't know. You sometimes you go like a couple generations later and you can't see the tan. Is all I'm saying. You can't see the paint job.
Gets watered down significantly.
The paint job gets diluted.
The paint job gets diluted.
I didn't know. So I'm like, okay. Well, so my brother, Cole Palmer, is the young player of the season. So who's yours?
Yeah, it's Palmer, of course.
Okay.
Palmer is.
So that's easy.
Palmer is. I mean, without him, Chelsea would not be where they are.
I agree. Manager of the season. You go now.
So manager of the season for me is Arteta.
Mine too.
Arteta.
Mine too. We've already talked about it.
And this is not because I'm an Arsenal fan. It's all about expectation and where you ended up.
Yeah.
When we started off this season, nobody expected Arsenal to push City to the last game of the season.
Except us.
Except us. Everybody expected Pep to win, so that means expectation met. But Arteta, nowhere near what people expected. So I'll give it to Arteta.
Yeah, some big pundits had us not even making the top 4, which I thought was very interesting. But okay,
very, 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 very interesting. Their bias is so difficult to shake off. Yeah, they carry it with them everywhere, and you need to be objective at times, and drop the United hat, drop the Liverpool hat, right, and just look at For example, I didn't come here and say player of the season is Declan Rice, for example. A young player of the season is whoever, anybody in Arsenal. No. Yeah. You have to be objective at times. Yeah? Anyway, okay. Let's move on.
All right. Who's your team of the season? As in an actual team of the season?
It has to be Man City, man.
Man City. Okay.
It has to be City. Right? You can't. That run from Christmas till now. Yes, you have the tools. Chelsea to have the tools, you can say. Yeah. Liverpool have the tools, you can say. To pull that off, God. I mean, and see, when you do these things at times, it gets to a point where you lose mental focus. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, and you get bored about it. They said doing a double is difficult. Doing a three-peat is more difficult than the double. Doing a quadruple, a four-peat, is even way, way, way more difficult. To keep that juice flowing, that excitement there, that drive, that hunger, it's not easy. And they've done it. They've done it very well. So there's kudos to Pep. For me, team of the whatever, top of the league is City.
So I think I agree. Like you said, they didn't lose in calendar 2024. Frankly, they didn't lose in all competitions. I don't think.
Yeah, they didn't, because the Liverpool game too were draws. They lost on penalty shootouts.
Yeah. But they must have lost in the Carling Cup, or what is it called now? Carabao Cup.
But that was before December, wasn't it? That was before January.
I don't know when they lost. The final was in February, so I don't know when they
That's what I'm saying. I think it was before January. Okay, I don't think it was in January.
Okay, got it.
No, I think they were out already.
They didn't lose in the Champions League.
They lost to one ridiculous team. Was it Sheffield or who beat them out of the... Was it Southampton or... One ridiculous team beat them in the FA Cup, and I think it was in December. I can double check.
Okay, all right. So they didn't lose to Real. They drew 2 games to Real.
Yeah.
I think that 30-something, game streak of not losing any game goes back to like October, Yinka. It's not even January. I think it goes back to like October. It's really, really, really impressive. Arsenal lost only 1 game in the Premier League in calendar 2024, and that was the game at home, unfortunately, to Aston Villa, and then they drew one game.
Aston Villa,
to City.
Away to
yeah. So they played 19 times, won 17 in the league, drew 1, and lost 1. Any other season, that will be enough in that back half to win the title.
More than enough.
This time it wasn't meant to be. But I have to mention my favorite team of the season. I know this is not what we're talking about.
Just to quickly jump in, City lost. Newcastle beat them in the Carabao Cup 27th of September.
Oh, very early. Very early. Okay.
Very early. Very early.
All
so go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry.
Good to know. My favorite team of the season is Luton Town. I'm really sad. I'm really sad that they're going down.
That's not the question we asked. It's not who your favorite team is. I know who my favorite team is too. Is not City and it's not Arsenal. But that's not what we asked you.
Who's your favorite team?
If you're picking your favorite team.
Who's your favorite team?
Who's my favorite team? It's United now.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
You walked straight into that one.
Oh my God. I wasn't even expecting it. I thought you were gonna say Burnley or Nottingham Forest because of Hudson Odoi or something.
It takes some skill to keep that -1 going.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
It takes some skill.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, I do have a United thing later. Actually, I'll just say it now. I think Arsenal is gonna sign Marcus Rashford. I think.
Hell no, please,
no.
Okay. No way. Don't even put this out into the universe. Please don't.
May I?
No Rashford, please.
May I?
God.
He has many flaws. It will cost a lot of money. Is he sounding familiar? Is he sounding familiar to you? Is Kai Havertz all over again? Is a slightly older version of Kai Havertz, right? He can play multiple positions. Is he sounding familiar to you? Okay, he's down on his luck. This is the kind of stuff Arteta believes he has to do. Arteta believes he has to go shop in places that City is not looking, or he can't get the player.
We can't be adopting stray dogs all over the place, Akin.
But the man believes in himself. Arteta believes in himself. So Arteta is not a guy. Look, what Arsenal used to do in the past is, you give me a little bit of money, I'll spread it around a bunch of people. Arteta is like, no, I want my guy who can play multiple positions. I can do the coaching because he's not afraid of coaching them up. That's the difference between Arteta now and all the, people that came before him. I think he's gonna sign Rashford. Everyone thinks Arteta is gonna get a striker. I think he's gonna get Rashford, but we'll see. You heard it here.
So first. if Arteta gets him, I'll trust in Arteta. But nah, Rashford, nah. Anyway, let's move on.
He's done more than Kai Havertz did before.
Akin.
He signed Havertz.
Akin,
I'm just saying.
You watched him play this season.
I know.
Rashford.
Yeah, that's the opportunity.
We've watched games where we're like,
that's the opportunity.
Why is he walking back?
That's the opportunity because he's not getting coached. They're not coaching at Old Trafford.
Providing the assist instead of wanting to shoot every time.
I know. And you go get him early. You have all of July and August to fix him.
He's going to Euro 2024. He's going to Euros. That makes it even worse. He'll probably make the team to Euros.
It's okay.
Makes it worse.
It's okay.
Anyway.
There's a mental struggle going on with this guy. I said it with Sancho. I see it with this guy as well. There's a lot going on. If Arteta can fix him, there's a player in there that, look, if you go get another 22-year-old, would they ever get to the heights that Rashford got to?
I'll take my chances with the 22-year-old. I'll take my chances with the 22-year-old.
Oh my God! Look,
and frankly, we'll talk about this in detail in future episodes.
Yeah, okay,
right? Okay. But I wouldn't say why go for a striker if there's nobody there that is really, really going to change you, right? I would rather put the money where it is. We need somebody to replace Saka, so that Saka can get some rest. The number one position Arsenal, okay, maybe not number one, but one of the key positions Arsenal should be looking at working on this season is you need to get someone to play 6 because what's his name? Thomas Partey is past his prime.
It's done. Yeah.
You need somebody to replace Saka so that Saka can get some breather. Someone almost as good as Saka so that he can get some breather.
Yeah.
For me, those are the two key positions.
I know.
Because between Kai and Gabriel Jesus,
I'm good on the strikers.
Exactly.
But Rashford is not a striker. That's what I'm saying. Rashford is a left-sided forward.
You've made us go on a tangent that I didn't want us to go on. Please, let's move on.
You can't get it out of your head, can you? I love it. Now you can't
get
it out of your head.
No, Rashford.
It's going to happen.
Unless Arteta agrees with you. No, Rashford.
It's going to happen. But let's move on. All right.
Let's move on.
So we did manager, we did team. Disappointment of the season. Disappointment of the season.
So in terms of player, right?
It could be player, it could be team, you know.
So in terms of team, it has to be United again. I'm not even joking. It has to be Manchester United. Their pedigree, the players they have, their expectations at the beginning of season, where they ended up at. It's not good enough. The quality of the play that they displayed across the season, inconsistent, and they had a manager that is for me is just simply deluded, and he's not telling himself the truth. And going into next season, their summer business, their summer transactions is not looking good also, right? They have so many players that our contracts are expiring, players that are on high wages that they don't know what to do with them. So for me, from a team standpoint, it will be United.
Okay.
Now, from a player standpoint, it will be Caicedo. Caicedo from Caicedo at Chelsea, right? Rather, 105, 110 million pounds. He didn't do nothing. Yeah, I think Brighton fleeced Chelsea significantly. And I don't think it's a one season matter.
Yeah,
I think it's a style of play matter. So for me, it will be United for the team and Caicedo as a player. How about you?
Okay, so disappointment for me, it has to be United. It has to be United. Player, honestly, probably Rashford. I mean, Caicedo, he got money for the first time. You know, he's going into a chaotic situation. Rashford is he was on his way to great status. Maybe not all-time great, but current great status, right?
And then he was on track to be a United great.
Yeah, he just disappeared. The stuff he did this season, like you said, just walking back, chilling, the party, the club. He didn't corral that team. He didn't rally the troops. He didn't help the coach in any way. He also didn't oppose the coach, because that's another way to lead. You can be like, hey, we're going to do it a different way or whatever. And then you leave a guy who is not really a leader, Bruno, out there by himself. So he would be my disappointment. And it's mostly, again, expectations. It's mostly because he's one of my favorite players. And when I see him walking around like Ozil and I didn't love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yinka.
Okay.
Goal of the season.
Yes, sir.
Goal of the season.
Goal of the season. I think this one, if you pick another goal, I'll knock your head.
Go on.
It has to be Garnacho.
That's mine too. Yeah, Alejandro.
It has to be Garnacho.
That's it. It's the only one. I didn't consider anyone.
By far.
Yeah.
The execution, everything, perfection.
All right.
I like the guy though. Very good player.
Yeah.
Very good player.
So we're gonna wrap this segment by giving our team of the season, literal 11 of the season. So I'm putting you on the spot.
Do you want us to do signing of the season, best and worst?
We can do that.
Worst signing, best signing.
We can do that.
Because I thought that might be nice too.
Yeah.
In terms of worst signing of the season. For the worst?
For best. I know who you're gonna say for best.
Okay, I'll start with worst. For me, it's Sandro Tonali. So Tonali is the worst signing of the season, not because of what he did on the pitch. It's because of what he did off the pitch, right? You can't. That shouldn't happen. So it was between him and Caicedo for me, but so actually between him, Caicedo and Calvin Phillips at West Ham.
Oh God!
But you have to give it to Tonali. It is the worst signing of the season. Yeah. Who's yours?
Mine was Caicedo.
Caicedo.
He's looked in most games like he doesn't know how to play football. It's shocking.
Yeah.
It's been shocking. But I hear you on Tonali. I was so excited when it was signed. I love his game. You know, it just the gambling thing is a bit much.
Is a bit much.
Yinka, to think that they might have known this was coming and not potentially
and
not tell
about it.
Yeah, not tell Newcastle. I mean, yeah,
it's not good at all.
It's disappointing.
Yeah?
But
and in terms of the Caicedo,
no,
very, 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 very poor this season.
Yeah.
It seems as if Brighton sold them the equipment without the what do you call it, the manual?
The manual.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy, Yinka? You know what's crazy? Like when the price for he and Rice were pushing into the 100 million range, there were people who actually believed that he was more worthy because he was younger. They said it was more athletic, but I think they actually just meant it was black because it's not more athletic. It's not more athletic than Rice. Rice is very athletic. Rice is actually very athletic. Rice can cover every blade of glass, but he's white, so people are just lazy.
Yeah.
And
for signing of the season,
go for it.
I think we've had this already last season. So I mean last week. So you might just repeat what you had last season. I'm sure you're going for Rice.
I said it was Rice. You said it was Cole Palmer, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So
it's 1-2, 1A, 1B for me.
1A, 1B.
I just thought the price tag is for Palmer.
That's real.
The price tag is quite. Okay, so let's move on to the 11 of the season now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You
want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
So the goalkeeper one stumped me a little bit, right?
Yeah.
David Raya won the Golden Glove, but I was never confident when it was between the sticks. So I'm gonna go with Ederson at Man City. I'm gonna go. I like Petrovic. I like Petrovic a lot. That's his name, right? Okay, I like him a lot. But again, I think about what did you do? How did you inspire confidence in your back five or whatever?
Your team.
So I'm gonna go with Ederson, even though Raya won the Golden Glove. Alisson was not good this season. But go ahead.
So a couple of things on that. Ederson was injured for quite a while, and what's his name? Ortega came in. Ortega came in, so maybe I'll knock down Alisson for that. But I agree with you. That Golden Glove should not actually be Golden Glove. It should be Golden Wall, and it should be given to the team with the best, the defense. Yeah, because even you're not conceding.
Raya said it was a strange award. So even Raya said it was a strange award. Yeah,
you not conceding is not the goalkeeper only.
Yeah,
it's for you to give it to the keeper. I think it's odd. That's one. And two, if you compare the XG to goals conceded, Raya is one of the worst in the league.
I know. It was the best the year before. Right? He had the best save
percentage. But because
percentage.
he's not exactly, he's not getting as much shots.
I know.
Right? As the other goalkeepers.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. If you look at that table, guess who is actually the best keeper if you look at that comparison?
Tell me.
Onana.
No, I don't disagree. I actually, I've told you several times that there's something there. Yeah.
Onana XG compared to saves, Onana is like 6 points. I had the list somewhere here. Onana is 9.2 different XG to goals conceded.
Wow. Yeah.
But also in there, you see a lot of balls that shouldn't have scored that he messed up.
Yeah.
A lot of errors in there.
Yeah.
So I can see how you picked Ederson.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through all your list?
Let me go through mine.
Okay, go through your list.
So Ederson for me. I'm gonna start right back. There's only really one choice, and that's Ben White. The two center backs at Arsenal, Saliba on the right, Gabriel Magalhaes on the left. The kid from Spurs on the at left back, Udoji, right? That's his name.
Udoji.
Yeah. He's had like a crazy, amazing campaign. I hope he comes back strong and he doesn't have any lingering effects from his injury. But I've been really, really, really impressed with. And then I'm gonna go 4-3-3 because that's what everyone plays now. So I'm not gonna get cute at all with this. Rodri will be the 6.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna split out Rice and Foden. Foden can be on the right, Rice can be on the left. And then the 3 forwards will be Salah, Watkins, Haaland through the middle. That's my 11.
Salah.
Yeah.
Indeed. Really? Salah?
The numbers are what the numbers are. We're comparing him to himself. I want to compare him to his contemporaries, not to himself, not to his old self. If you compare him to himself, it's a disappointment. You compare him to his contemporaries, is a legend. That's the reality.
I get that, but I wouldn't have said Salah is even the best Liverpool player this season. Come to think of it,
in the forward position, for me, in the right wing position, it was better than Saka this season, and nobody else was good apart from those 2, in my opinion. Because Foden is not really a winger; Foden is a midfielder. I can be cute and put Foden at right wing to accommodate your Palmer because I know that's where you're going with this.
Of course, because it's not my Palmer.
Half of his goals were penalties.
Salah doesn't score spot kicks. Who's on penalties for Liverpool?
It wasn't half of his goals.
It's Salah.
It wasn't half.
No. But that's my point. It's not as if penalties is handball or penalties is tennis or penalties is part of the game.
Okay, go on.
It is part of the game.
Name your 11 before bashing mine. Name your 11.
Okay. No. So I think we're almost aligned. So the only difference is that we have, you went for Ederson with the goalkeeper. I went south completely. I went with Jose Sarr of
I do not like him at all. It does not fill me with confidence at all. But go on.
Okay, but the stats will tell you otherwise.
But you always tell me about the eye test. It's terrible on the eye test.
No. On eye test, it's not that terrible. To be fair, and it's one of the reasons. Hear me out now.
Go on.
It's one of the reasons why Wolves, right, can say we're not battling with relegation this season. They were not that good offensively, but from a save standpoint, he was fire. He was fire. The other person I mentioned would have been Onana, but I look at Onana, I'm like, Onana had errors in him. Sarr didn't have errors in him. The other goalkeeper that came up, right?
Pickford had a really good season.
No, Pickford had a great season. When you look at the goalkeeping stats, and which is what matters in this case, if there's a position where you should focus or where the stats really, really matter, I think it's goalkeeping. It's only fair. Right?
Yeah.
If I compare the XG that you faced with the goals that you conceded, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Onana had the highest.
Yeah.
But like I said, Onana is a substitute. The other keeper that really did well was Ben Leno at Fulham. Right?
Low key.
So I was actually torn.
Low key.
Yeah, I was actually torn between Fulham, Wolves, and this Spurs young goalkeeper. What's his name? Vicario.
Yeah, Vicario was good. It was good.
Vicario had errors in him too. He couldn't come
out. But they
don't
play defense. It's not his fault. They don't play defense at Spurs.
No. But there was some way he flapped. Yeah, where he came out for the ball, he missed it and stuff like that. But I'm not too keen on goalkeepers, frankly. It should have been Onana, but I'm not an Onana.
So you're going with Jose.
So I went with Jose
Sarr.
Okay. Then in left back, he went with Udogie. I actually had Udogie there first, but I changed it to Vardiol City. Because what Vardiol did from January to now, come on. He was, and Udogie got injured and all.
And he's not a left back, right? He's not a left back by training.
Yeah, he's a centre back. He's not a left back. Yeah. He's a centre back.
Yeah,
but he turned into prime Roberto Carlos all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So the team is the same all through. I only had Palmer in to replace Salah.
Okay.
You had Salah. I think I have to go with Palmer.
Okay. I'm shocked that you put Haaland there. I thought you were gonna find a way to keep him out.
No. Nah. Okay. You can't keep that kind of beast out. Haaland is in there.
All right. I'm impressed.
Come on. I told you I always try to be objective.
Okay.
The only one that was really difficult for me was the goalkeeping bit. And frankly, I could have gone with any goalkeeper, right? But I decided to just say, what does the stats say?
Yeah.
It was Onana that seemed the best goalkeeper. Like, it can't be Onana now. The same Onana that I watched. The same Onana. Hey, Onana has too much error in him, right? He will make the great save at times, right? And on the next, he will just mess up. And you're wondering, is this the same goalkeeper? You know? So it was either going to be Ben Leno or Zisa.
I'm glad you brought up Leno because it's been Fulham as a whole. There's something there. There's something to work with. The problem is they have a restless manager who thinks it's too good for them. You know? And there's hubris, there's arrogance.
You couldn't have said that better.
You know?
You couldn't have said that better. In fact, I'll borrow that from you.
You know, I wish they could get a young manager who has the same skills, but he's happy to be there. You know, like the guy at Bournemouth, you know, Iraola, right? Iraola. You know, someone who is happy to be there for 2-3 years, not always looking for the next job, you know, because there's something there. There's something at Fulham, you know, but it is what it is.
I agree.
All right.
Anyway.
Okay.
So let's move on to our worthy mentions of the week.
Yes. So the first
one
we
have some very, very interesting stories that happened.
Some really good ones, Inka. The first one we have was we just talked about Wolves, Jose Sa's team.
Yeah.
And so they believe that they've been very, very badly hurt by the demons of VAR. And now they're pushing
the demons in black.
You know, there's an annual general meeting of the EPL owners coming up in June, and they're pushing to abolish VAR, right? And they need 14. They need a super majority, so they need 14 out of 20. What I would like to know, and I think I answered the question myself because I said June. So by June, we already know who is relegated. Because I was thinking, I'm like, is it? You know, the bottom 3 from this season going to be there, the promoted side. But
good point.
By June, the championship playoffs would have been done and we'll know all the 3. So I'm guessing
we'll know all this.
I'm guessing it will be the 3 going forward, but you never know. Anyway, so Yinka, I'll give my opinion. I think this is insane. And let me just give objectivity. This is coming from, this is not even coming from PGMOL. This is coming from the EPL. Apparently, they've looked at all the stats. Before VAR, referees were something like 82% accurate. And then after VAR, we're getting 96% of the calls right? Now, we can debate back and forth, 2.5 minutes of looking at something that really you only need to look at for 30 seconds. But I think if I can improve my grade in anything in life, from 82 to 96, I think I'm gonna take it. But what do you think? And how do you think the vote will go?
Okay, so I totally line up behind you. This is a very, very silly vote, in my opinion. I don't think Wolves themselves really believe in this resolution that they're trying to get through. I think they're just trying to use this as a platform to register their unhappiness.
They're doing it for the fans.
With VAR.
They're doing it for the fans. Yeah.
To be fair, VAR has had it bad this season. Yeah. And Wolves have suffered the most. Right? You can give that to them.
Yeah, starting with their first game of the season against Man U.
Exactly. There's anybody that should be vexed the most with VAR decisions. Yes, it is Wolves. Right? They've been at the receiving end of the wrong decisions of VAR the most. But they keep forgetting. Right? The stats that you said come into play. The number of times that VAR has gotten it right is way more than the number of times that VAR has gotten it wrong. The reason why everybody keeps shouting is because it's the wrong decisions that are amplified. Do you get my point?
I totally do.
I watched the playoffs between West Brom and Southampton a couple of days ago. So it's Southampton Leeds that are playing to come to the Premier League. They'll play the finals maybe in 2 weeks' time or so at the Wembley Stadium. In that game, there was no VAR. And I was like, wow, so this is how football was before VAR. There were wrong decisions after wrong decisions that the replay kept on pointing out. And almost every 15 minutes, the commentators would say, remember, there's no VAR in this game. If there had been a VAR, that would have been this, that would have been that. And I'm like, whoa, really? But because the good decisions are not applauded as much as the bad decisions are castigated, everybody seems to think, oh, VAR is all bad is bad. No. It's not. The problem with VAR is it's garbage in, garbage out. There's nothing wrong with the system. The problem is with the people using the system. We just watched in January a Nations Cup where it was perfectly utilized.
Absolutely.
There was no VAR controversy at the African Cup of Nations. None. And I'm saying this being a Nigerian, that we scored a goal after South Africa. We scored a goal. We made it 2-0 against South Africa. And the ref cancelled that goal and gave South Africa a penalty. And it was the correct decision. The refs at the AFCON made perfect use of VAR. What EPL needs to do, and Europe, in general, what they need to do is they need to start treating this as law cases. I must have told you this before.
Yeah, you did.
What we need is consistency. In the case of YY versus AA, XYZ happened. So that's all. But when the subjectivity is now being applied, you're interpreting the rules as you go by. For me, that's complete nonsense. And if you believe that the refs are not good enough to do that, then just use VAR for the automation. Use it for the decisions that are simply yes or no, right? For goals and for offsides. Don't use them to say, oh, was that a penalty or not? Oh, once the referee has made the decision, let's stick to the referee's decision. Because what is going on is you are just expanding the number of people that are making subjective decisions. That's what you're doing with the penalties and stuff. So if you really don't want any issue and you want the game to go by faster, right? Automate VAR to the point where offsides are checked automatically. Yeah. Expand, if you have the money, expand the goal line technology to the whole pitch.
You need to.
Right? And just let the ref ref the game normally. If he blows a penalty, it's a penalty. Forget all this clear and obvious error. Because obviously what is clear and obvious to me is not clear and obvious to you. Or what is clear and obvious to the ref in the booth is not clear and obvious to the ref on the field. So if that is what is causing the confusion, just scrap that and let the ref refer the match normally or referee the match normally. Or else just keep it as it is and just try let your refs get better and let them, use precedence. Or if where they've made a mistake, let them come out and say, in XYZ game, XYZ happened, that was a mistake. This is the rule, this is how we've interpreted it, and this is how we intend to use it going forward. You need that consistency. Onana punched somebody in the face, first game of the season. There was no penalty. He did the same thing 2 or 3 weeks ago against Burnley. That was a penalty. What are we talking about? So I don't think they agree with their proposition or their resolution. They just want to use this as an avenue to register their unhappiness with VAR. And I don't blame them for that. But this is it's not going to pass. It's going to fail.
I don't think it's going to pass either. I really, and then it's really going to leave the EPL behind. I mean, everyone is using VAR. You're not going to be taken seriously if you decide to pull back now. And then what happens to the semi-automated, offside technology that was supposed to come in next season, but apparently not at the beginning of the season, which is crazy to me. They're not bringing it in at the beginning of the season. They're bringing it in some weeks in. I'm like, just get better referees, but let's not get into the referees again. We've done that plenty.
Yeah, so, we've done that too much. Yeah.
Yinka, I'm going to try something. So the next thing we're going to talk about is WNBA salaries. We've talked
Yes.
about that. We've talked about Caitlin Clark. Let me see if I can do this in a decently structured manner. Also, while possibly sharing my screen. So, number one, I feel like Caitlin Clark, because she's so popular, is finally bringing some attention to something you and I have talked about in the past. I've always wondered about since I've been following this league since inception. So, number one, she's struggling. You know, I don't know if they played today, but their first 3 games, they lost all 3. I think 1 or 2 of them were blowouts. I didn't watch the first 2. I watched the third, and it was not good. Colin Cowherd had a rant on, I believe it was Friday. Like, what's wrong with the WNBA? Like, look, you need to put that it was ranting that they gave the Fever, Indiana Fever, their first 4 games were against tough defensive teams. 2 against the Liberty, 2 against Connecticut Suns. You know, and it's like, why are you putting your best asset up against tough defense the first 4 games? I thought it was crazy, but I understand where it's coming from.
Tell me you don't watch the W without telling me you don't watch the W. That's what he just did.
Yeah, because they don't know that there's real talent in the WNBA. They don't know
that those girls can play, and they're strong, and they're waiting for her.
Exactly.
So come on.
You know, and college is not the same. And here's the thing. So this is something I don't think we talked about when we did this topic, which is the WNBA only plays 30-something. They don't even play 40 games. That's number one. They have how many teams? Not many teams. How many teams are in the WNBA? Is it 12 teams?
Not many.
Something ridiculous.
I think it's 12.
Yeah, it's a very 12, small number.
I can confirm that. Go ahead.
It's a very small number, but worse for me, in my opinion, is the roster size is only 12. That is criminal to
12 teams, 12 players per team.
Okay, so it's 12 teams. So the NBA has 30 teams. And I think the roster size for the NBA is 15. I think you can keep 12 active. Yeah, you can keep 12 active, but you can have 15. You know, and then you can bring guys in, you know, in and out. In the WNBA, there are guys, there were women that were drafted a month ago that were already cut, and some of them were really, really good players. So there are many reasons.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there are many reasons why potential WNBA players go abroad. One is the money, but sometimes it's the opportunity, because there's only 12 spots for you. 12 times 12 is 144. And like we said before, many of these women do not retire. They play 20 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So I feel like a lot of people are now coming into this, coming into their viewership journey or whatever, for lack of a better way of putting it. And they're shocked at what they're seeing. So, but the one thing that is shocking people the most is the money. So, Yinka, let me see if I can do this. Let me see if I can share this screen, and then we can talk about this. So this is just an excerpt from a really, really good article. I encourage you to read it if you haven't read it. So it says the base salary for a contracted player in the Professional Pickleball Association is $75,000. I didn't know that, Yinka, I didn't know there was a Professional Pickleball Association. Or the PPA for short.
You should know. You live in the US.
I had no idea. I don't even understand this old pickleball craze. I'm like, this thing just started yesterday, and they already have a tour, and they can pay people $75,000, which is how much Caitlin Clark is making. And then the top 5 ranked players on the PPA tour will average $1.5 million this year in prize money and payouts. How? What? You got 10 players in the Professional Bowlers Association made more money last year than Caitlin Clark's rookie salary. The Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association featured 25 bull riders whose paychecks exceeded $76,535, which is what Caitlin Clark is making, with the top-ranked rider making nearly Clark's entire 4-year contract worth $338,056 in 2023 from the National Finals Rodeo earnings. I'm going to share one more thing, Yinka. All right, just one more thing, and then we can discuss this. All right, so I should probably have started with this. Just a comparison of Caitlin Clark's salary versus a few others in the sports and pseudo sports worlds. Let's see. Let me find it. I think this is it. All right. Comparison. Inka, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So the Charlotte Hornets, which is an NBA team, have a mascot. It's called Hugo the Hornet. He makes $100,000 a year. Technically, he performs at home games only, so that's he performs 41 times. They don't make the playoffs, so there's no point even talking about playoffs. So he performs roughly as many times as a WNBA player might perform, right? Roughly.
Yeah.
He makes more money than a WNBA rookie, top rookie. This guy's esports, okay? People who pretty much play video games for a living. This is how much he makes, $83,000. A pro surfer, right? From a single event, prize money from a single event can make $80,000. All right. A chess player, same thing, single event can make $78,000. LPGA, that's golf, and they don't get paid well at all. They don't get paid well at all. Can make about this much in a year. And then a bowler, bowling for me is not a sport, it's an activity. They also make roughly that a year. We've talked about the bull riders. They get appearance fees and stuff like that. This is basic salary. MLS player. The MLS one is very interesting because there's a lot of players making a lot of money now in the MLS, right? So they put this one here because this is a guy you've never heard his name before. Right? And then this pro baseball player is another one you've never heard his name before, but you get the point. And then pickleball players, you know, this is the. I just thought I thought this was I thought this was fascinating, and I just wanted to bring it up. So,
but this is the thing. Right. You said it best. There are a lot of people that don't know what's happening in the W that are just getting into the W because of Clark. Right. I've seen people say ridiculous things like what you said earlier on, that why did they give her that tough lineup to start with, or why that they should have made it easy for her, make it home games.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you think the people the girls in the W, you think they're trash?
Yes.
They're not trash.
Yes.
They're not trash.
A lot of people do.
See, she'll be all right.
Yeah.
Okay? She will be fine. What is happening right now, I expected it.
We talked about it.
She's not the most talented player right now. Does she have bigger ceilings than some of the players? Yes.
Yeah.
But you're going into a team that has AJ Wilson, you're playing against a team that has Chelsea Gray, Aja, Kelsey,
Brianna Stewart.
You go to Liberty. You have Brianna. You have Sabrina. You have Jonquel. Yeah, you guys are making me sound like DMX right now on one of the songs that he sang. I'm just calling names of women. But these are girls that are way, way, way better than Caitlin. So see, she'll be fine. But she's not going to be fine this season.
Yeah.
Forget it. She's not going to be fine this season. This is her. So when Sue Bird and what's the name?
Diana Taurasi. Yeah.
Diana Taurasi. When they were saying this, I think they were on commentary for one of the
and they have a podcast
for the college games.
Yeah.
And they said she's gonna be introduced to and people are like, what do you mean? I'm like, this people don't know anything.
Because they don't watch the games.
You don't watch W. They don't watch the games. They don't watch the games.
Okay. So anyway, I wanted to bring that up because I'm like, I think you should read the article. I think our audience should read the article.
I'll read it.
What was shocking to me was we always thought, so we know the NBA players make half of the salary cap. Sorry, half of the revenue. Sorry, not salary cap. I always thought that WNBA players make 20 to 25%, and there was no transparency, and we don't know. The Athletic is reporting it as 9%. That's why the money is so low. Because for me, in my opinion, if you're a North American sport that has been on TV, you've had a TV contract for all your 26 years or 20, I can't do math, 20, what is it, 1996 to now, 28 years of existence, you should be able to pay your players. Because where is that TV money going? And one thing they did, Yinka, so now because of Caitlin Clark, they finally agreed to fly charter, right?
Private. Yeah.
It's gonna cost them $25 million over 2 years. I didn't do this math, so I don't know but apparently this is more than how much they pay the players. I don't know if that's per year, how much they pay the players per year over 2 years. I didn't get the time to do that.
Over 2 years.
But either way, why are you flying charter? Take that $25 million and give everyone a raise. Okay. I got one other thing to say, Yinka. The city of Las Vegas. Okay. The city of Las Vegas has signed a sponsorship deal with the team from Las Vegas, the Aces, where every player, all 12 players on the team, would get $100,000 each. So stop comparing. So what I loved about the article was, for the first time, finally someone who knows what they're talking about, who is not comparing the WNBA to the NBA. The only thing common between them is ball, and they don't even play with the same type ball. Stop comparing them. You are the Pickleball Association. You are the LPGA. That's who you are. You are the NWSL. But all those sports and associations, because they're on TV, they find a way to pay their players. Get creative. Sign with Las Vegas to pay your players. You know what I mean? Like, develop an NIL type system. Funnel corporate dollars straight to your players. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? I mean, these women are the best. They literally are the best in the world at what they do. And you can't find a way to pay them? Like, really? Okay, rant over. I'm sorry. I get passionate about this stuff because I truly enjoy watching the WNBA. Like, I was watching Asia Wilson. I was texting with you when I was watching it. And I'm like, man, this girl can play. And I'm just like, she just the way she ran down one play.
Chelsea. Those girls can play. They can. Anyway, they'll like I told you, if they drop the ball, and I mean the WNBA,
they will drop the ball.
They drop the ball. Right now, they don't deserve to exist. But anyway,
but
we'll catch up with them later.
I know. On. You know who I didn't appreciate until I watched this last game, Jackie Young, and I'm just like, I didn't know she was that good.
She's the highest paid. But she's the highest paid WNBA player.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm glad, because I'm like, okay, she should be a star. I don't know why she's not a star, but I'm like, she's so fundamentally sound, and I'm like, every part of a game is perfect. And
she's the highest paid WNBA player. I think she gets over 250K.
Okay, good. And then we talk about this. The people watching sports are men. Okay. Nobody wants to talk about it, but men care about what women look like when they're playing. Let's just say a lot of men are gonna like what they see if they watch this.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I mean, look at the Las Vegas game. Floyd was in the front row seat. It's filled with guys.
Yeah,
the front row seat was filled with guys. And anyway, we will circle back to the WNBA
many times,
much later in the future.
Many times,
because it's I mean, I'm interested to see your prediction at the beginning of the season, whether they're going to fumble.
They will
this
fumble
or
it. They will fumble it. They're fumbling it right now. Anyway,
let's keep it at that. So let's move on.
I think the next one is. I think you called this one into existence because of how much you hate this man.
I did.
So, Massimiliano, what is it? Massimiliano or whatever, Allegri? Massimiliano Allegri is leaving Juventus. So that's not the big news. It was always going to leave at some point. The big news for me is, Yinka, why do you hate this guy so much? That's what I want to know.
It's because of people like you. I don't hate him, but it's because of people like you, right? There was a time you told me that you wanted Allegri to come to Arsenal. I'm like, are you smoking something?
Anybody at that point was better than Wenger. Late stage Wenger.
No. I don't care. Not Allegri. See, look at this Juve team this season.
Yeah, terrible.
And tell me, do they look like a team that is properly coached?
No.
Then in the game, the FA Cup or their version of the FA Cup that they won over the weekend, the guy just went gaga and was behaving like a tout, like a thug. And I'm like, what is this? This is not proper. He was taking off his shirt, taking off his tie, as if he wanted to beat somebody.
Maybe he wanted to.
Nah. So for me, it's good riddance to rubbish. Yeah, he's not good. He deserves to coach a Monza or whatever. I don't care. He's not a good coach. So, not at all.
Yinka, is it possible?
Yes, sir.
That it's just getting older. You know how I feel about old people at work.
I've told you about this since forever. I know, right? I've told you about this since forever.
I know.
When Juve were winning,
you didn't like him.
It's because every other person is horrible. Every other team is bad. They have the best players. This coach is crap. Nonsense. He doesn't know how to coach. I'm sorry. He doesn't.
Okay.
He doesn't.
Okay.
Anyway, let's leave it at that. He's leaving Juventus. So any top club, I hear Barca. There are rumors that Barca now want to fire Xavi again.
No.
Or Bayern is looking for a coach. Please, you can give him a job. I'll be happy.
All right. So I'm glad you brought that up. Of the two, I think he will actually do really well at Bayern. I think he will be horrible at Barca. Bayern, those guys, the brain trust, Uli, Hoeneß, and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, the people who run by, they will respect him to an extent. They don't respect anybody, but they will respect him to an extent. They can't, punch him around like they do everyone else. It may actually work for them. And, he's a old structural kind of guy. It could work. At Barcelona, it will be the worst, literally the worst thing they can do, because it's not an innovative, kind of guy. No, it's not going to fit the personnel. It's not going to work out. It's not going to work out.
Anyway, let's move on from Allegri.
Okay. So you can
let him spoil my whatever this is. Yeah.
Like we said, today was Championship Sunday. Two teams had the possibility of winning the championship, the EPL.
Yeah.
City,
the EPL.
If all they had to do was win, and they're champions. Arsenal needed City to not win, and then there are different scenarios. Yeah. If City lost and Arsenal won, it's interesting. If City drew and Arsenal won, is interesting. So that's kind of where we are.
Yeah.
And then there were two replicas of the EPL trophy that were going to be on display. One at City, one at Arsenal, without any names on it yet. And then whatever happens, they now put the names on it. That's how they do it. And they were getting ready with podiums. You know how they do? They
at both
stadiums, and then they build it up in 5 minutes or whatever. But then what was interesting was the league officials decided to stay in London and not travel to Manchester. So all the league officials that matter none of them made the trip to Manchester. The most important one, Richard Master, the chief executive.
Yep.
He stayed
chief
in
executive.
London. A friend of mine texted me. He's a Man U fan, so you make up. You can know exactly where this is going. He texted me. He was watching both games. As you know, I wasn't watching in real time. I was at the graduation, and he was like, "The fix is in." Meaning they were gonna do something to City to make sure they don't win and hand the trophy.
City.
So Yinka, I know you have a lot of thoughts on this. So I've laid it out. I'm gonna shut up now. You tell us what your thoughts are on this.
Okay, so there's no fix anywhere.
Obviously.
Guys, there's no fix anywhere. So obviously, because you've seen the results.
Yeah.
So what's going on here is this is the PL chief telling City that I don't want to be associated with you guys because of the 115 charges that are coming up. I don't want to be seen taking a picture with you people, celebrating or handing over the trophy to you when you've not cooperated with me and my team in resolving the 115 charges that we've put against you. And so when we're talking earlier, when I said I don't want to talk about the 115 charges because we'll talk about it later, and we talked about it last week also. But it will get to a point where if the PL charges any other team, I think the team will look them in the eye and tell them, until you deal with City, right, you cannot talk to anybody else. And once that happens, this big dark cloud that is looming over City, it will either go away peacefully or he will be like a typhoon, right? Because 115 charges cannot simply go away. Something will stick. What is happening right now is City is refusing to cooperate and they want to take it to court. City wanted to go to court. Everton didn't go to court. Forest didn't go to court and they were charged. Yeah? So this is an indication of where the Premier League is in their 115 charges against City. That's my interpretation of this. I might be wrong, right? But was it a fix? It's no fix. It's them saying, we will not come to you and, break bread with you, figuratively, when we know you have 115 charges looming against you. Yeah?
Well said.
So the sooner they settle this, the better. Because there is a lot of people right now putting asterisks on a couple of, wins that City has had. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because if it gets resolved next year, is the point deduction going to be next year? And how much will it be? If somebody had only 10 charges against them and you deducted them 6 points, if my math is right, that is 10 times 6, isn't it? So where are you going to start from?
Just take the trophy from them and give it to Arsenal.
Harass Leicester. I know that I don't think that will happen. So you're harassing Leicester that is coming into the season right now.
Yeah, but it's only what, 3 points or 4 points for Leicester. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, why are you harassing me? Go deal with the big elephant in the room, the 115 charges. And the sooner the Premier League resolve this, the better for them. Because if they don't, the credibility, the integrity of the league, the whole league itself will be in question. So if anybody wondering why that happened, that's why that happened. It's not because Richard Master is an Arsenal fan. It's not. That's not it. Oh, there was a fix. There was no fix. That's why this was done.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
Let's keep it moving. Roberto
Let's keep it moving.
Zerbi left Brighton. So personally, I thought Brighton had a poor season. They had a very uneven performance throughout. They just, they weren't the trusty, scrappy team that we've known them for the last 3 to 4 years, maybe. They finished behind Crystal Palace, which says something in and of itself. 1 point behind Crystal Palace, -7 goals difference, which is terrible. They didn't score that many goals. They scored 55 goals, so I think the sheen is off him a little bit. Because Brighton is pretty much full.
Why was it on him in the first?
Oh, you know why?
Why was it on him in the first place?
Because
we've discussed that in the past.
Yeah, we discussed it in the past. He came in, he took over from Potter. They didn't skip a beat. They had sold some players for big money, and he brought in the rock and roll football that Liverpool had under.
At a point, they were saying they were comparing this guy to Pep and Klopp.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But never to Arteta, though. Goodness. They always bypass Arteta.
Never to Arteta. Yeah. They said it was better than Arteta.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's what they said.
Of course, everyone is.
He's a better coach than Arteta.
Everyone is.
But now he's off.
Yeah.
He's not. No club. He himself said it today that no club. I don't have any deal with any club. Some people were like, "Oh, Bayern reached out to him." He said, "Nope, nobody's reached out to me. But I still want to stay back in the EPL." He was just planting the EPL seed, right? Just in case one of those younger guys, the Leeds, the Leicester, or who was the other guy that's coming up with Leicester? I can't remember right now. So maybe those guys want to fire their coach and let him take over, something along those lines. But we'll see.
We'll see. I'm never afraid to make predictions. So I think it's gonna be the next coach of Man United. No, I do. I think so. I think this was a ploy. The only reason that Erik ten Hag still has a job is because they have a FA Cup final coming up, which doesn't make sense to me because City were more likely to cough up the EPL to Arsenal today than to not beat
Akin's one game.
I know. Oh no.
Is one game.
They might lose that one game.
Anything can happen.
Bruh, they might lose that one game to Chelsea. If this was a final against Chelsea, I wouldn't be saying this.
Oh my God.
They're not losing to Man U. You can, what do you call it? You can crop this, chop it up.
Yeah.
Blast me forever. They are not losing to Man United. I can set my clock by. They will beat them to death in a couple weeks.
Okay.
It's in 1 week, right? It's in 1 week.
Yeah, I think so.
It's not going to happen.
It's in a week.
By the time we reconvene, you and me, we would know what's going on with Ten Hag. He's not going to be there.
Yeah.
And I think Zerbi will be their new coach. I think Glasper is going to go to Bayern. I think so. But we'll see. How. Is he German?
We'll see how it goes. He's Austrian,
okay.
I think.
So he speaks German.
I might be wrong.
That would make. I like the way he plays a lot. So yeah. I actually want to see him at Bayern.
I do too.
I want to see him at Bayern because for me, I think then Bayern. How do I put this? Then Bayern, Stuttgart, and Leverkusen will be on the same level, just in terms of coaching. And then, then I really want to see what all three of them can do with the players they have. So but we'll see.
With the players they have, yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Good.
Yinka, the next one I have is Foden winning player of the season, but we kind of talked about it. Do we need to talk about it?
Yeah, I think we have. We've dealt with that already.
We've dealt with it already.
That's part of. Yeah, we've dealt with that already.
Okay.
So we can skip that. Congratulations to him, by the way. He had a fantastic season. And so I hope he translates that to Euro 2020 to 2024. And he gets a starting berth because it will be odd if your player of the season is not in the starting 11 for England.
Yeah.
So Southgate. How many times did I call your name? You had better not mess this up.
Yeah. So,
anyway,
I care nothing at all about England. I'm not a fan. But the England team picks itself. Stop overthinking, right? They're never gonna bench Pickford, but he's not a great goalkeeper. If they want to go far, they need to play literally anyone else. Sam Johnstone or whatever his name is. Anyone else. Aaron Ramsdale, I don't care. Not that dude. He's a chaos goalkeeper. I don't like chaos goalkeepers. I'm not a fan.
I agree with you. Yeah. But it's been decent for them.
I know.
But I agree
but they just don't have the guts to do it. So he's gonna be there. Ben White is not on there. The best right back in the league. In their league. Walker is 35. It is what it is. Whatever. Maguire is the first name on the sheet, which is crazy to me. It's crazy, but
it's crazy to everybody.
It's gonna play. But the midfield picks itself. It's Rice, it's Palmer, and it's Foden. That's your midfield. Stop messing around. That's it.
Did you say Palmer or Bellingham?
Oh, it should be Bellingham. And then, sorry, not Palmer. My bad. I was thinking about you. Bellingham. Bellingham, Foden, and Rice.
Yes.
Stop messing around. Don't put Foden on the bench. Stop it.
Or don't put him on the left either.
Yeah. Just play him where
don't put him on the left.
Him.
Play him in the middle.
Play him in the middle. Stop messing around.
Stop messing around. But they won't do that. He won't do that. Henderson is still going to the Euros.
God.
And Henderson will start.
Oh my God.
If we continue, we won't finish this session. So let's just
all right.
Let's stop.
Yinka.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a donkey of the week for us?
Yes, I do.
I will yield my time to you.
So let me take it away. My donkey of the week. 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 So on Wednesday, was it Wednesday? City played Spurs on Wednesday. Yeah?
I guess.
And you guess right. And the expectation was, well, most of the Arsenal fans were hoping for Spurs
Actually,
to do them a favor.
Liverpool played on
Was on
Monday.
Tuesday.
City
Okay.
played on
Okay,
Tuesday.
City played on Tuesday. So Arsenal fans were looking for Spurs to do them a favor. And it seems as if Ange Postecoglou they threw him under the bus. They left him in the sun to dry because it's like he got to the battle. You know when you have a soldier, a general, and you get to the battle and you're like, guys, let's charge to battle, and you look behind you and you don't see nobody. That's exactly what happened on Tuesday. Yeah. And when after the game, he came out and he was very, very livid. He said some heavy words that if my coach of my club says that to me and the club that I support, I'll hide my face in shame. Yeah. And I must have called him Donkey of the Week in past weeks. And I kind of look at him and I felt pity for him to some extent. I'm like, wow, you're the only one with the right mentality in your whole setup, in that Spurs ecosystem. But that's not my Donkey of the Week. And that's not who I'm talking about. The Donkey of the Week, and I'm referring to my only nominee this week, is a young man called Heung-min Son.
Oh, Lord. Really?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
And I'll tell you why. A lot of people said that one-on-one chance that he had, that he missed it on purpose. I said, no, he didn't miss it on purpose. Until I watched the replay. All Song needed to do was just pass the ball straight into the net. The post was open. It was easier for him to score that ball than what he did. He hit the ball straight at the goalkeeper. And I can show you like 10 or 15 different clips of Son one-on-one with the goalkeeper, left foot, right foot, bending the ball into the net. I didn't make anything of that. I was like, that's odd. Then we saw the clips of after the game, and this guy was laughing and joking with Pep. They were hugging, they were laughing, they were joking. And I think that interview that Ange had, it wasn't to the fans. It wasn't to the president. He was actually talking to his players. That's what I think. I'm serious. That's what I think. Because there was no way. The song that you and I know, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, hit it straight at the goalkeeper. Really? Son? Same Son? It was a mix shot. It was like a back pass to the goalkeeper. And if you look at the replay, his back view to goalpost, all he needed to do was just play the ball straight. Because Ortega kind of opened up this place to him and was covering, and you hit the ball straight at Ortega. Now, when it happened, I was like, nah, you can't do that now. He was trying to score. I watched the replay, I felt bad. And I heard Ange, post a match comments and interview. And I said, he's not talking to his players. He's not talking to the fans. He's actually referring to players.
Amazing.
Because I don't think he didn't expect that from his players. And the way they were, joking with City afterwards, laughing with them, it just felt odd to him. And he had to voice it out. Right? So for me, I know this is a selfish Donkey of the Week, but since it's my section,
yes, it is,
and I handle this, I am giving Heung-min Son the sole unanimous Donkey of the Week for that particular chance that he missed. And I want to apologize to Ange. His mentality and his expectation, I don't think he deserves, or Spurs deserve to have him as a manager. I think he needs to move on from Spurs.
Maybe he can go to Man U.
The whole team, maybe he can go to Man U. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. He can go to Man U. So Son is my Donkey of the Week, right? But a big bubbling under, and I'm just going to say this, a big bubbling under is the rest of the Premiership fans, right? All of you that you're mocking Arsenal. Akin, you remember that proverb that I said my dad used to say? I'm not sure it's right. It's proper for me to say it here, so I'm not going to say it, right? But you cannot be mocking. You're at the bottom of the class. You're mocking the guy that came second, right? I see Man U fans jubilating. The Arsenal didn't win, whereas your city rival, your noisy neighbors won 4 in a row, right? And you're worrying about Arsenal. I see Liverpool mocking. Oh, Arsenal didn't. I'm like, really? Is that what you guys are doing? Right? Spurs mocking Arsenal. When was the last time you smelled any trophy? Who else?
I don't know.
Who else should I
20 years ago. 40 years ago.
All of them. Right? You should hide your face in shame if you knew what shame was. I'm sure they don't. So I'll hang it on that.
Okay. I have nothing to add. I think that was all very well said. Yinka?
Yes, sir.
Next week is a big week for us.
Yes, it is.
We will, for the first time since we started our little project, be in a studio together.
Yes, we will.
In the great, great city of Lagos.
Yes, we
I,
will.
for one, can't wait.
That's one.
And we also will have a guest for the first time. You know, we've been talking about it. People have been hounding us about when are you going to have a guest? Mostly because they want to be on. And I'm like, if we start picking and choosing who to bring on, we will offend a lot of people. So I am looking forward to that. I'm sure you are as well.
So our number one guest, you guys will understand why he's our number one guest. There are many. There are. That's when in rap when you say double entendre. So there's what I said there.
Yeah.
If you understand.
If you say too much, you give it away.
Double entendre.
That's what
I'll give it away.
If you say too much, you will give it away. But
double entendre.
Let's just say.
Anyway. So I look forward to that. And just so people know, we'll be recording on Monday instead next week.
Instead of Sunday.
Instead of Sunday. So it's Tuesday evening that you'll be hearing from us.
We might be able to put it out on Monday. We'll see. It depends on how it comes out.
We'll see.
We'll be doing it out of a studio for the first time. So if it comes out, if everything comes out great, we'll just put it out right away. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. Because it's different. It's different from this format, so we may not need to do as much cutting and chopping and stuff as we usually do.
Cool. So all right, guys, that's our podcast for the week. Once again, thanks for all your support. Thanks for the views, the interaction. Some people have been abusing, quote and unquote, Aki and I for some of our takes, and some people have been defending us.
We love it.
We thank everybody for the interaction. I mean, it's all love. Please continue to do that. Subscribe to all our social media platforms. Tell your friends about us. Tell everybody about us. And we hope to keep up the interaction, and we'll see you sometime next week.
Right. So we hit 14,000 views this past weekend. It took about half as long to go from 6,000 to 14,000 as it did to go from 0 to 6,000. And that's all because of you. So thank you all for doing it. Let's race to 100,000, and then we'll see how it goes from there. And then that's it. Thank you. Great season. We'll have some things, some specials over the summer when none of the leagues will be in play. But the Copa America will be on. The Euros will be on. Olympics. So there will be a lot of content. So we're looking forward to that.
A lot of content.
All right.
We will.
Yinka, I will see you next week, and we'll take you from there. Thank you, everyone.
All right, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.